Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Behind the Look. I'm your host Michelle, and my very first guest is my eldest sister, Mel Yu. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Welcome. I'm good. How are you?
Good.
What kind of vibe are we going for today for the look?
I feel like you know me quite well, but just natural nude. It's a Saturday afternoon that we're filming this, so I want to have a face that will last the day, but so feeling flawless, but also natural, so not too over the top.
Yeah. What about the eyes? Just sort of chill?
Yeah, I think a bronze goldy
Yeah.
thing.
We'll add a little bit of gold. Perfect. Well, let's get started. So Melly, for those who don't know you, how would you best describe yourself?
I am a mega brand builder business coach. And what that means is I create personal brands and powerful brands, whether in business, but we learn how to explain people's visions, missions, and values. Outside of that, I'm also an international speaker for mental health. And I run a few companies, all within the event industry.
Lovely. And do you think that as a whole is a lot of like pressure? Do you feel pressure when you work in these environments and in these roles?
Yes, I think there's always pressure if you're going to do something that's worthwhile doing, though. But if it's like stressful in a sense, it's worth it because I'm building something that I'm creating, and I find a lot of power in legacy, and I find a lot of power in being able to, I suppose, live life on my terms. So there's pressure, but I think the pressure, if I look at it from a bigger spectrum, it's quite micro compared to all the benefits of everything else of owning my own business.
And what made you want to go down this route?
I don't think that I was ever truly entrepreneurial. We grew up, though, with a father that did own his own restaurant.
Yeah.
So I think even within our own family dynamics, we have seen people work for themselves, and we have seen people kind of build, even our grandparents owning a Chinese restaurant, we've seen them build something of their own.
Yeah.
So I feel we've always been given the opportunity to flourish and to grow and to do whatever we want. Would you agree that we don't have strict parents that that really force us into a certain like accounting, doctor,
or
anything like that. We really got to explore and
yeah.
feel what we wanted to do and then dive into that.
We've been able to have that choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that independence, I naturally grew into academics. I naturally fell in love with psychology. That was what I studied in uni. But if I was to say, did I ever imagine that I'd be a multi-business owner in the event industry? Probably not. I think I fell into that. And yeah.
Thank you. So what is one of the scariest things that you've done so far in your life?
Start my own business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to personal development. The scariest thing would be taking the leap of faith and being like, I'm going to work for myself. I think anyone that chooses to go down that path has an immense amount of courage to actually, there's a difference between talking about something and then actually doing it. And those that have actually gone out and done it and started working and building an income for themselves, I think is a really scary thing. But there's some really cool things on the other side of fear.
Yeah. What are the common misconceptions about your job role?
That we party plan.
And what do you mean by party plan?
So when I lead with, and I don't really come up with, the guys behind the cameras can kind of attest to this. Like, I feel like I'm just like, I run an events company, and then I play it pretty casually. And so sometimes misconceptions would be like, oh, so you like party plan, do you? Whether that's like running a 21st birthday or like a hen's party or something. Whereas, yes, we're in the event industry, but we more run expos, conventions, large scale events. And there's such a massive spectrum to what event management is. And I think what we do is a very elite, high caliber skill set. And yeah, it's so much more than party planning. The amount of preparation, operations, logistics, foresight, budget management, everything like that, people underestimate the amount of work we do as event managers.
And what's your favorite part of your job?
Bringing people together. I think when you put so much blood, sweat and tears behind the scenes, and then the crescendo of an event when everyone arrives, everyone's dressed up, everyone's eating, drinking, having a great time, and you kind of see the masterpiece of all of the stress and the planning come to fruition, there's nothing quite like it. And I'm normally just like a fly on the wall at my events, or I'm in a high vis vest. I'm pretty behind the scenes for things. And yeah, it's just nice to kind of see people gather. I think human contact and human relationships and community is what we're all here for, essentially.
Connection.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is, connection? Like, why is that the core?
Well, we're human beings, and by human beings, we're social beings. We're social animals that to survive, I'm going down a real psychology path here, but we're tribal beings. So to survive back in the day is we had to find our tribe and we had to connect in order to evolve and to survive and to find food and shelter. And I think that's genetically in the human species, that we can only move forward when we have other people. No one should, we actually can't survive doing it alone. The very birth of life as an infant, we need a caretaker or a mother or a nurturer to literally be able to live.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that human instinct of connection is always and forever going to be embedded in our species.
It's quite primal.
Yeah.
What is something that you would say for someone who's trying to get into the industry that you're in? Like, what would be your advice to them?
If people want to get into events and they've never done events, I would highly suggest that you intern or work for free at events or at an event management company, because I've had volunteers thinking that they want to do events and then after the event they realize they don't want to do events because it's a lot of time on your feet. It's very, very stressful. They're long hours, long days, but I think that's a good thing. So if you don't know what you want to do, go out there and taste it and test the industry. And if you find out that you don't actually like it, that's a brilliant realization, because then you can move forward and go to the next task. So yeah, get started. Start by doing. Volunteer your time, provide value to the company or organization that you want to work with and learn from. And then if you're good, people will naturally gravitate towards that, or you could be hired. So like, where are we going with this look? I can't obviously see much. One thing I want to know, Michelle, because this is your first episode, why create behind the look? What is the actual foundation of this project?
Yeah, well, the main thing that I thought of, it was one night I was just in bed and I was in a bit of a slump with creativity-wise, like that aspect of my life, because I used to be a makeup artist, and then not hated it, but during COVID, like lockdown, I had to stop that business. And then I had to go into a desk job, and then I was thinking, well, how can I incorporate creativity into my life and beauty into my life? And yeah, so one night I was thinking about how can I incorporate creativity back into my life, and how can I bring that side of passion and my other side of passion, which is mental health, and talking about that as I'm studying counselling as well. So I just wanted to, I guess, find something that I could mesh them in together. And I thought, well, why not this sort of thing? Like getting someone in to talk about, you know, their mental health or their life in general and their whole journey and what's brought them here to this current stage of their life, and then also do a makeup look, because
why not?
It's something to watch,
yeah,
you know, and I don't think it's really done as well at the moment.
I don't think anyone's really done that. Like when I've told people about my sister's doing a, podcast or like a YouTube channel where she's doing behind the look and she's interviewing people while doing their makeup. I'm like, everyone is like, that's freaking awesome. Like, I know you're saying it's just one night of inspiration, but it's pretty cool that those sparks of creativity can just come when you're least expecting it.
Yeah.
Or, most people start a business because they want to fix a problem or they notice a gap in the market. And I think that's what you've kind of done is like, hey, I don't think that this is being done. I'm going to put my own flair into it and just invite guests and have a chat while doing their look.
Yep.
I mean, I know that you aren't a qualified makeup artist.
No,
let's just say
definitely
that.
not.
But you're so good at it. How did you learn to do makeup? Because I always ask you to do my makeup.
I started watching YouTube at a very young age.
So you started watching a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, lots of YouTube, I think at the age of like 10. So that really sparked something in me. And then I started doing makeup in high school as a 16, 17-year-old for $20. Like that's what it was. It was just like people from high schools, mutual friends and stuff coming to get their makeup done for $20. And then eventually I did lashes as well, did a course in lashes. And then my boss, let me in and I got more clients and got to raise my price like that.
Let's talk about raising prices. This is now a business coaching call. $20 an hour.
Yeah.
How did you feel then? Actually, to be fair,
I mean, I was 17.
15,
Yeah.
16, that's pretty good value when you're working for yourself. You're probably like, whoa, $20.
Yeah. It added up.
This is an interesting one because when do you feel like it's appropriate to raise your prices?
I always felt like it was like,
Yeah.
I don't want
Which
to
is
do
what
it.
most people feel.
Yeah.
And why do you think that is?
They're people pleasing, their money boundaries, boundaries with money, their thoughts surrounding money. They don't want to step on anyone's toes. And also the fact that I wasn't qualified. Like I was like, I don't
Imposter
deserve
syndrome.
that. Yeah, I don't deserve to raise it because I'm not really that person.
I do think it comes down to this level of self-worth. Like we charge ourselves, when we're starting out, we're just figuring it out. I think that's fair because we don't know what we're worth. But then eventually the market will tell you as well. So you think about how much you pay for your services or to go get your makeup done. And then if you charge only a quarter of that, where does that sit?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, you might not be that good, but you are. So you're deserving of charging the prices that you charge.
Not that I want to do it again, as a job, but I enjoy doing this. It's putting together both the passions.
Both your passions.
Yeah.
Why are you interested in mental health?
Well, it's a real thing. Everyone's got, personal struggles and things that they need to overcome, and not many people talk about it as much. And it, with poor mental health, it can, end lives. And it's a bit effed up that is a reality, and not many people actually talk about it. And it's crazy to think about that because everyone else is so comfortable talking about everything else about themselves, if they feel like it, but
well,
not
I mean,
that aspect.
historically, if you have a broken arm, you'll go to the doctors,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
And be like, hey, I've got a
Physically.
broken arm. If there's anything, I've got a headache even, you go to the doctors and check that out. There's so many acceptances in society to check in on our physical health or our bloods or anything like that. And then as soon as it comes to mental health, I still think that there has been some taboo around I'm going to go see my psychologist. And people are like, well, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And reshaping that and having those conversations is really important for both of us because I'd be like, yeah, I'm seeing a psychologist, but I'm not in crisis or anything.
Yeah, and I'd be like, go you for putting yourself first and going to seek professional
help.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And it comes back down to that conversation I said earlier about you don't have to do anything alone. No man is an island. And the more that you have a bigger community, whether in personal and professional care, the greater your chances of success are and the greater your chances of being mentally fit.
You got to seek help, seek support. Are you usually like when did you feel comfortable starting to speak about, you know, your problems or your journey and being so vulnerable? Like, when did that start? Because it's definitely inspired me to do
more
that.
vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is awesome. So for those who don't know, but in 2014, I actually lost my late partner to suicide. You were 9, 10? You were
What year
quite
was
young.
it? 2014. I was 15 then.
Oh, 9 or 10. That's how young I remember them. But I think that was a massive fork in the road for one, our whole family,
Yeah.
and also my community.
Yeah.
And at 23 years old, which is how old I was then,
That's
I
how
think
old
when-
I am now.
I think when something like that happens and you lose a significant partner, it really forces you to ask questions around why am I here? What am I doing? What is the meaning of life? And these really deep questions that I don't think many 23-year-olds ask. And from that loss, the way that I found comfort or healing was in the power of sharing. So as much as I was hurting, the poison would leave little by little, the more that I was able to write about it, articulate it, and then share it with my community. And what I saw was being incredibly vulnerable and showing up online, but not even just online, showing up in my personal life behind closed doors, actually connected me to a lot more people that like had empathy for where I was. And grief does a very interesting thing. So grief can either separate people, but it can also like bound people together and connect people. So the people that I thought would be in my life forever are no longer in my life because of that incident. But then new people showed up and not took their place, but like came into my life and built purpose around my life because they were so connected to my grief story. And yeah, I think I've continued to share that. I think vulnerability is truly courageous, and there's a lot of science behind it. There's a lot of research behind it. I highly recommend people check out Brene Brown's work around vulnerability and shame, because she's incredible, and the way she articulates it just makes so much sense. But yeah, I think sharing is pretty important. So I think what you're doing now is like an awesome thing.
Thank you.
So describe to everyone what this look is that you're creating. I mean, talk us through.
Yeah, so at the moment I'm adding some browns onto the lids because we're going for a bit of a natural but bronzy look. And we've already completed some of the base, and we'll follow through after the eyes. And you've already got lash extensions. And you used to get them done by me, but now they're done by your good friend Harmony.
Shout out to Harmony.
Yep.
If anyone needs a good lash girl in the southeast.
So going back onto, I guess, your past and things that you have gone through, what helped you overcome certain situations?
Mindset. I think it all falls down to mindset, actually. Everything that we do, it's the way that we assign meaning to what happens to us. And you can do two things. You can either be a victim to your story, or you can be a victor of your story. And understanding that your past doesn't define you. You can rewrite another story every single day. You can choose to wake up and go, I don't want to fucking read this book anymore. Apologies for swearing.
Yeah.
But I don't want to read this book anymore. I want to read something else. Stop reading the book and read something else. If you want to turn a new leaf and start a new chapter, the rest is genuinely still unwritten. No one knows what's ahead of us in the future, but like you can control things that you want to control. So for me, it's been mindset, it's been resilience, it's been holding on to hope when I felt at a time so much freaking darkness. Like when we talk about mental health, it's like I can seriously sit with you and be like, I've had days where I just can't see the light. I've had days where, and I know you have too, where getting out of bed is the biggest achievement that I'm going to make today. And you know what? Sometimes you don't even get out of bed. And that level of a slump or depression is something that only self-awareness and the mindset can help you get out of it, right? And it's easier said than done, because when you're in it, you feel so lethargic. There's no motivation. There's
no drive.
There's no mission. And especially during COVID, the last 2 years, if you're in Melbourne, we went through 6, 7, 8 lockdowns, and there was no real reason to even get out of bed. And so mental health became a really serious conversation around that, because people were losing a lot of purpose and meaning. And why I say mindset is because you can, I know it sounds so simple, but it's like you can get up and choose to walk a different path if your mind can be stronger than your behaviors.
And how would you train your mind to be stronger than your behaviors and current, actions?
Recognizing that your thoughts are just your thoughts and you don't have to lean into them, and changing your thoughts by diving into different content or consuming different people can really, really help. So for me, when I was at my lowest point, I started listening to people like Tony Robbins that really helped me with finding purpose, finding meaning. And yeah, these people, especially in this day and age, you could be on your own, but if you have a phone and if you have Wi-Fi, you're good to go. There's so much opportunity there for you to download information and consume other people's mindsets, beliefs, and value systems. You just have to be the one that actually gets up and searches for it. So be really conscious of what you consume on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, even the movies that you watch. Maybe your download isn't that positive.
This has actually been something for me, like detaching myself from my thoughts. So it's like observing them from a third person point of view, or naming them. Like I would do this thing like Little Miss fucking something is popping up. But what would you say to someone who, is trying to detach from their thoughts and view them from afar?
It comes down to self-awareness. So I don't expect people to just be able to do that overnight, or have that conversation, because it doesn't just really happen unless something happens in your life that triggers you to become self-aware. But for those that aren't, it's like, how often do people sit and spend time with just themselves? How often do people actually journal and write out their thoughts, or what's going on for them and how they're feeling and what's happening, how are they processing it? People don't actually do that. People are very surface level in conversations. And I'm also a business coach, as I said before. So I find a lot of people that struggle with purpose is because they're not going that deeper layer that life really calls for you to go. Like, people are attracted to depth. You need to have some sort of depth about you to be able to do things and to do life, essentially. But for those that are struggling with that, question your thoughts, or invite your thoughts in. Meditation's a huge one. I think meditation practice, allowing your thoughts to come and go, and to just
and not judging them.
Judging them. And also recognizing whose voice is that? Is it even yours? Or is it someone else that told you once upon a time that you were fat, you were ugly, you weren't going to be successful, you were dumb? Normally, the thoughts that we have in our head, the inner critic, the voices aren't even ours. There's someone else that told us and projected onto us what they thought, or their own limiting beliefs. And then in turn, we absorb them, because as kids, we don't know anything that's true or not true.
And we're so impressionable.
Absolutely. So we imprint it as our reality. And so I think developmental phases are really, really important to look at as an adult now. What were you like between 0 to 7? What was life like for you? Because a majority of your values, majority of your belief systems to what you know to be true comes from that early age. Well, I think because I feel like no one's going to be doing your makeup. Actually, you do. You do your own makeup and you talk about stuff all the time. Or you drink a bottle of wine.
Yeah, that was ages ago.
But let's go real vulnerable for a second. I'm doing this because I can, because I'm her older sister. So I can probe like this. But Michelle, you've been in slumps.
Yeah.
Jimmy can vouch for this.
Yeah.
What do you do to be kinder to yourself but to also at the same time be that tough love that makes you get out of bed. Or you don't and you just ride it out.
Sometimes I feel like we have to hit rock bottom to finally make a choice to change, like, or to realize that change needs to be done. Because otherwise, yes, I'll ask for help. Like, I've asked for your help before. But most of the time I do just write it out because I know that it won't stay like this forever. It's taken a bit of time to realize that, though, that it won't stay forever.
What makes you sad?
I don't know. There's like, I don't know what makes me sad. I think it's just if I get sad, it would be about thinking from the past. And I think that definitely being in the present moment has helped me way more get out of those slumps. So yeah, sadness I think is just part of life. I feel like all emotions should be felt. So I know that, and then I think just got to push through, like, and reach out for help if I need it. But yeah, it's a bit, I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's a good tip for people, and I say this because I have a psychology background, but when you are sad, most likely it is a memory of the past.
Yeah.
Depression lives in living in the past. Anxiety lives in living in the future. Neither depression or anxiety can exist when you are being totally present in this moment. Because if in this moment you are just there, just being mindful, being present, and yeah, there's the best medicine, I believe, for both of those is gratitude. Like, the best medicine that's actually gotten me through a lot of things is just being grateful for where I've been, how far I've come, and what else is left to go. Being grateful for living in Australia, being grateful for having a roof over my head, having my basic shelter and needs met. There's so much to be grateful for, but again, it's a mindset thing. How do you want to view your situation? Because you can do it both ways. Like, we can both live with a chip on our shoulder and just continue to hate life and resent it and feel wrong done by, you know, like why our family was the way that it is.
Yeah.
But when you just surrender and just go, it is what it is, and let it be, there's a level of lightness that comes from that.
How do you just be with gratitude?
Like, taking mindful moments in my day, looking at how much I have achieved and what I've got around me. I have very, very good people around me. That's the main thing. And I can always lead with that, knowing that I have a really, really good circle of friends and family. Yeah, that's what my biggest thing I'm grateful for is.
And what about those who don't really have a supportive circle?
Can you find gratitude within yourself? Can you find gratitude in, no matter how many bad days you've had, you've gotten through them all to be watching a video like this? There's so much gratitude in that. Can you be grateful for your heart, your beating heart, your lungs that keep you alive, the last meal that you just ate? Can you be grateful for your hands and feet? Vanessa helps me be grateful every single day. And she is.
Yeah. On your social media stories that you've sort of been in a little bit of a slump as well.
Whoa. That was half a day, Michelle.
Half a day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that half a day.
Yes.
Throughout a day, we can feel a range of emotions.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
And what was that one about? Like that little slump?
I'm pretty open on my social media. As I said, vulnerability is courage. So if I'm feeling blah, I'll let people know that I am feeling blah. And it's not that I'm being a victim to my story. There's a difference in that. It's showing that I am human. And the most recent one you're talking about is nothing was working for me. I actually looked back at my stories and was like, oh my God, Mel, you were so negative. You were literally like, I didn't feel like going to the gym. I didn't want to work. I didn't want to do this. And it was just one of those days where sometimes it's like, it's just not working for you.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, probably same as you, knowing that this too shall pass,
Yeah.
knowing that
Sorry.
I can have a not so great day where I'm not that motivational, energetic, life is amazing, rainbows and butterflies kind of girl. But sometimes you just need to go, today's not my day, I'm going to sleep it off. And then as soon as I wake up in the morning though, as my feet hit the ground, I'm going to be back on. And I do that because I understand the cycle of life. I understand the seasons, and I understand that we are meant to feel every single emotion. It's what makes us human.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't get caught up in it. So I don't allow the negative feeling or the slump to go for anything longer than half a day. I'll be really honest. Because I understand that I'm in control of that. I give myself permission to feel and surrender. But then I also go, where do I want to be? And is crying in my bed moving the needle forward? Is being sad about it for too long really helping me achieve what I want to achieve? And it's not. So then I'll get up and I'll show up and I'll build resilience and I'll keep going.
Pushing forward.
It's done.
It's not linear.
It's done right by me for 33 years, you know.
30.
Releasing my age. But
age is just a number.
It's proven that like if you just keep going, if you just keep showing up and you don't give up, how can you fail? Literally, like do the maths. How can you fail if you don't quit? You can't. You actually cannot, because you just don't quit until the day that you die. Like, so you just keep going.
Keep pushing through. And I think that's why I'm also just going in with Max Well lip liner, one of my favorite lip liners. But yeah, you're definitely one of my biggest inspirations. If anyone were to ask me who's my role model, it is you, because you've literally inspired me to go down the career path that I'm in. Because of your vulnerability and because of your strength and because of your hard work, I see all that. And of course it's going to do something to me, someone who's close in your circle, in your family. Like I am watching it and I've absorbed it as a child. So
Thanks, Michelle.
yeah.
How important do you think are role models or influencers, and I don't mean like influential
Yeah,
people,
I know. Yeah.
in life, or like having a mentor, like having an older sister has obviously, you've mentioned a couple of times, really shaped the person that you are.
Yeah.
How important is it for people to have those people?
I think it's very important because it basically helps. It's like a little, I don't know how to explain it, but it allows you to have an insight or another perspective, and it's healthy for you. You know, a good role model is healthy for you in terms of your self-development and your journey and your choices that you make. Like having someone there to support you and watching them as well, it's just showing you what you can do and your potential. Because I don't know if I would have done this or like any of the other things that I've made, like the decisions I've made in my life, if I didn't have someone like you there.
There's a very famous quote that's about you are the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So if you actually take an audit of who are your 5 closest people in your network, who are they? Do they motivate you? Do they inspire you? Do they lift you up? Do they empower you when you finish these conversations? Do they get your, ass into gear? Like, they're the 5 people that you need to be around with. And if you are listening to this and it's like the 5 people around you aren't doing that, get out of that circle.
Yeah.
Just get out of that circle and find another one. Because there's so many circles here. There's so many circles out in the world. Just get out there and you know what? Be vulnerable and be like, this isn't my circle anymore. I need to go find another circle, and watch how life will change for you. Watch how people around you are just doing things. I'm surrounded by business owners and entrepreneurs and creatives because we're all doing things.
Yeah.
Like, why would I want to be why would I want to be in a circle where people just talk and like, they're called couch entrepreneurs. So they have these great ideas and they sit on the couch and they do nothing about it, but they always have the next $1 million idea. But yet we're the ones actually going out there and moving and shaking the industry. So have an audit of who the 5 people you are surrounded yourself with.
That's actually so true, because when I had this idea of Behind the Look, I was like, I can't just let it slide, because if I do, then someone else is going to take it, Someone else will have this thought and this idea. And even if it is happening right now, like, that's cool. I'm at the start of it as well with whoever
100%.
else. But like,
there are
yeah.
people that have had this idea, let's just say. But has
Yeah.
anyone actioned the idea? Because if they haven't, well, you snooze, you lose.
Just gonna finish lining these lips. So now that we are getting closer to the end of the makeup look and the, I guess, interview sesh, what would you say are your key values right now in your life? And are you living by those values?
Absolutely. I've created a whole brand around my values, and they are authenticity, passion, and discipline. That's a value that's really shot up lately to the top. I'm currently doing an 8-week challenge
Yes.
around fitness and really testing my mindset about how I can be incredibly resilient and disciplined. And just this morning I went to the gym, did not want to go. There's actually more days that I don't want to go than I do want to go. But I'm currently on day 15 of 60. And so I'm 25% in on this 8-week challenge, and I'm feeling really good about it just because I'm in control. So yeah, I'm living it right now. I'm literally living in value alignment and in flow, which is why things are kind of working for me. There's a level of calmness and groundedness to the person that I am and that I'm becoming, because it's pretty cool that I can just be authentic. And what does that mean? It's like, it's pretty cool that I can just be myself and it works. Like, there's no mask, there's no fakeness. I'm just being me. And if you like it, you like it. And if you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, good luck with what you're doing too.
Yeah. Is there a specific question that you think I should have asked you, or that you would like me to ask you, and how would you answer it?
It's funny because
You're helping me guide me through this first session.
But
so
however, my answer is going to be really different, because I think you need to ask the questions that you need to ask.
Yeah.
So if the question doesn't come up to you, or you don't want to ask
It
a
wouldn't have-
question,
yeah.
it wouldn't come up as a question.
Yeah.
Oh, I am the most, when I look at me podcasting,
you go,
oh my gosh, my nod, my affirmative nod.
It's a psyching, it's a therapy side coming out.
Yeah, but like that reflective nod is like hardcore. Sometimes I'm like, my bubble head is going to fall off in this podcast. Like, but I'm so in the moment though. When I'm interviewing, there's like if someone's talking and I'm really listening in, it's like 1 minute of just Mel head nodding.
Yeah.
It's so intense. And then I'm like, I don't know how to stop it.
And
it's authentic.
yes.
So the reflective nod is just going to be here to stay.
And for our final question, and I know it can be a bit of a cliche, but I do like hearing it. So it's, what would be, if there's anything that you could say to your younger self, what would it be?
Nothing. She wouldn't listen anyway.
I love that answer, because yeah, you're a bit of a mole. Close your eyes.
I think younger.
I'm going to spray, so
like,
shut your mouth. Yeah, you think what?
I think younger Mel was a lot more driven by ego, a lot more like
Me going, yeah.
Don't nod that much, okay? But she was just so sure of herself that she was almost up herself. And I think you need to go through that in your early 20s,
Yes.
because in your early 20s, you feel like you're like
On top of the
unstoppable.
world.
Exactly. It's my rite of passage. I'm the one that knows everything. And then when you really start to learn is when you fall, you hit rock bottom and you realize you don't know anything.
Yeah.
And then you start being the dumbest in the room. You start to shut your mouth and listen. Because you don't learn anything when you're talking, but you learn a whole heap when you use your 2 ears. And so, yeah, I wouldn't actually tell her anything or like let her know anything, because she has to learn the hard way.
Get it.
Tough treatment.
Right.
Tough love.
Honestly, and if younger Mel was like, oh, if I could go speak to my older, wiser self, she'd be like, cool, that's a cute piece of advice. I'm going to go do this now.
You'd be like, shut up.
Literally.
I don't want to listen to you. Okay, here is the final look. Can we keep that in?
I know because the camera's on me right now, but like, this is awesome, Michelle. I know you always do such a great job. Flawless, nude, golden, natural.
Thank you guys so much for watching the first episode with this bitch and me. Thank you for coming.
First episode done and dusted. So
Yeah.
stay tuned. Michelle Yu is on to big and amazing and awesome things. And I'm really excited. Thanks for having me on Behind the Look.
Love you. Bye.